Hello and welcome to this video introduction of the Produmex Warehouse Management System for SAP Business One. In this demo session I'm going to show you how flexible the Produmex Warehouse Management System can be configured. When you open the Produmex tab in SAP Business One, you see the administrative functions of the Produmex system. We will focus now on the organizational structure, which is the engine of the Warehouse Management System. Here you can model your warehouses in accordance with the physical layout of your operations. Receiving and shipping docks, packing lines, pick locations, and so forth. You can easily add or move organizational structure elements such as warehouses, zones, docks, bin locations, etc. For each element in the organizational structure you can define its characteristics, which will define its behavior in reality. For a dock, for instance, you can define whether it can be used for loading, unloading or picking. For a bin location, for instance, you can define whether it is a pick or bulk location, whether it is fixed for one or more products, and whether it can be replenished, and what the minimum, maximum, and replenished quantities are in that context. You can also define how and when a bin location needs to be counted, for instance after a specific number of days or a specific number of operations. In the organizational structure you can also define other characteristics of the warehouse operations. In the extension parameters, for instance, you can define according to which criteria pick lists should be generated. For instance, the order in which items should be picked. You can also define reports that will be used, for instance a goods receipt label or a sales delivery note, and the print events when they will be printed. It's also possible to define zone types which can be assigned to storage locations and to products, and which will define whether or not a product can be stored at a certain location. Furthermore, it is also possible to define as many quality statuses as necessary, and it can also be specified which actions are allowed for a specific status, for instance whether or not a product can be picked or shipped. It is also possible to define the transitions between the quality statuses. There are also possibilities to define standard reasons which operators can select in the warehouse when an operation cannot be concluded as it should. It is even possible to force operators to enter an extra explanation for specific reasons. There are many more parameters that can be set in the Produmex Warehouse Management System for SAP Business One, but we hope this gives you already an idea of how flexible the system can be configured. We thank you for your attention.